Hi, I'm Bizzlebear, and if you give me just a few minutes of your time, I'll make you a better Destiny player. And that's the Bizzlebear guarantee. Bizzlebear.com. First off, I'd like to say that I'm a massive Destiny fan and a somewhat delusional father of 3 with a regular job who still believes I can somehow find enough time to game and still live a balanced life. If you're already a reasonable player looking for advanced techniques, then this isn't for you. You can check out these channels by YouTubers far better at the game than me. However, if you're like me and you're trying to get the fundamentals right so that you can complete some of the PvP quests without punching a hole in your console or inserting a controller in the wall, then let me share the tips that have really helped me up my game. I call them the 6 Pillars of Destiny. First off, mod components. If you don't know how to farm for mod components, then watch my video here. But basically, just acquire blue background gear. It has to be year 1 gear from the collection section, and then dissolve. Every 7 or so should give you a mod component, and after you have 10, you can trade them in at the gunsmith at the tower for a modifier that you can apply to your armor or weapon. Choose an armor combination that already has perks that complement your gameplay style and add 1 to each armor piece you wear. I recommend resilience and mobility. The gunsmith periodically changes which particular mod he's giving out, so be sure to check in with him when you're out the tower to check you don't miss out on your preferred mod. Number 2, use the third person view. So when you use like an emote or equip your sword or activate your super, the game view switches out to third person view. So the quickest way to see round corners to know if it's safe is to get right up close to the wall and use an emote, preferably not one that involves a lot of movement. Good players will often have corridors locked down with their sniper trained in the area where your head box will be the second you poke your head out for a look. So if you see the red light of their scope, do not just walk around the corner. If you absolutely have to cross their field of view, then either jump or slide across to stop them snagging the headshot insta-kill.
Behind us at the tower.
When you're going into events like the Iron Banner, be sure to be wearing your highest light level gear. I know this sounds obvious, but there's a couple of tips people often forget. Many legendaries and even exotics can be reclaimed from collections at only a few light levels below your current max. So it only costs 7 shards for an exotic. So if, like me, you're a fan of the old graviton lance, even after the nerfing, then you can be sure to periodically dissolve it and then reclaim it from collections. This is far cheaper than infusing higher light level gear into it. Second tip, use jsira to level up the other 2 characters. So jsira appears each week with exotic gear that scales to just a few light levels below your character's max. Similar to collections, use your highest light level character to buy armor for all 3 classes, and then you can drop that in the bank and put it on those characters. Since Destiny 2, Bungie stopped you being able to infuse Warlock armor into a Hunter's and so on. So this is a great once a week hack that can really help jump the light level up on your other characters. There's another obvious one, but I still see a lot of people stood dead still, especially when they're sniping. And if you could try and stay central in a relatively flat, sort of safe area where you're not going to fall off the world, try moving around as you're trying to get a shot on your opponent. This works in 3 ways. Firstly, you're harder to hit, especially to anyone scoping you that you haven't seen yet. Second, you're varying your field of view laterally. So if you're on something like the Jade Rabbit that shows up enemy guardians in glowing red, then you're more likely to see someone's elbow poking out as they camp behind cover. Third, you can actually use your lateral movement to fine-tune your aim. This takes a little bit of practice, but after a while it becomes second nature. Personally, my thumb dexterity is terrible when it comes to precision, so I'm always like snatching at the analog sticks, over or undershooting the aim left or right. But if I can be strafing left a meter, I can line up a shot quite nicely. If you have the moving target perk, on your long-range weapon. That makes this technique better on all 3 counts. I know everyone wants the glory of rampage or kill clip perks, but don't underestimate the moving target perk on long-range weapons. Give it a try and stick with it until you get comfortable. I promise you won't be disappointed. Use the minimap, not just for identifying your threats, but know where your team is. If you're the only one careering into a hall containing the other team, then expect death. Make sure one of 2 things if you're launching an offensive. Either A, you have a few green or blue dots moving with you, so as you round that corner, there will be multiple targets for the enemy to try and pick off. Or B, try to attack the enemy when you're sure their focus is elsewhere. So if you're hearing a lot of gunfire aimed somewhere else, chances are that you can sneak round and get a few shots on the side of their heads. Try to play to a strategy. If your team is down and theirs isn't, you need to fall back, flank, or wait for your teammates to respawn and head back into the fray together. If you're in a supporting role, then remember to use your shields and rifts tactically so the whole team can benefit. If you're going to trailblaze and be the first one into the action, then try to fall back or get to cover and let your teammates take the kill, rather than just going for trading lives.
And they're taking B. What's my team doing? They're going for it, so I'm trying to flank. Side of someone's head, please. There you go, nice one.
Go for the head. The head box is larger than you think. Body shots result in a much higher time to kill. In a straight up shootout against semi-experienced player, if you're not making headshots, you'll lose every time. A little knowledge about how games work comes in handy here. So regardless of the actual shape of the player plus the armor that they're wearing, the game decides if an actual shot has landed by seeing if the bullet passed through a standard volume around the head that games designers refer to as the head box. Traditionally, when consoles were slower, this was the actual shape of a box. Now they're faster processing, the shape is closer to actual body shapes, but it is much larger than the visual representation of the helmet. I've watched back friends' videos where they've just been going for the body the whole time, and when I asked them why they weren't going for the head, they said they just weren't confident enough with aiming. But they're forgetting 2 main points. Firstly, aim assist. Destiny has massive default aim assist on all of its weapons targeting. If you want to see what I mean, start a private match with a buddy and just watch your target reticule get dragged by the other player as they run across your line of fire. Secondly, time to kill. Yes, the head box is harder to hit than the body box, but it does around twice the damage. So if you're not going for the head, then you need to be staying alive for twice as long to snag the kill over your enemy. Think positive, you can get the headshot.
Unbelievable! That never happens. Straight shootout like that, I usually always lose, man.
As a last note, be sure that you're wearing a helmet that provides additional aim assist for your preferred weapon. Looking at hand cannons, the aim assist perks seem to increase the head box volume by almost double, so be sure to wear an appropriately perked headgear. Again, you can try this test out for yourself with a buddy in a private match by just deliberately missing their head and seeing what still registers as a hit. That's all for now, and covers the things that I've been focusing on to try and increase my skill at Destiny. I'll be asking the other members of my clan for some more advanced tips for the next video and see if any of them want to do a feature, which would be awesome as we have some pretty lethal members. Much better than me. But if you've got any tips yourselves that you think have helped, or some clips of you putting these tips to work, I'd love to see them. Like I said, I didn't come up with any of these tips myself, but as other players told me to start using them, I've really seen them improve my enjoyment of Destiny. So I hope they do the same for you guys. Drop me a comment and I'll see you in the next video.
grizzlebear.com.